You are a clerical error in an expensive blouse, and frankly, you're dragging the billable hours of this firm into the gutter. Stand still while I give your performance review the only refreshment it deserves." Julian Vane didn't just speak. He projected his cruelty like a predator. He stood in the center of the classic executive boardroom of Vane and Associates, an environment of aggressive corporate luxury. Floor-to-ceiling walnut paneling, a massive green marble conference table, and a massive, tiered crystal chandelier that hummed with the high-voltage tension of the room. Julian stood with his arms crossed, his hands empty, staring with clinical disdain at the woman standing at the head of the table. The woman was Elara Thorne, a woman with deeply pigmented mahogany skin and a quiet authority that seemed to make the room's air feel thin. She was dressed in a tailored cream silk blouse and high-waisted wool trousers. New outfit. "The merger reports are accurate, Julian," Elara said, her voice a low, melodic resonance that cut through the sound of the central air. "If you refuse to see the deficit, it's not a clerical error, it's a management failure." "Management failure?" Julian laughed, his voice rising in a calculated escalation of disdain. "Look at this room. Look at the people in it. Do you see anyone else here who looks like they've spent their life fetching things rather than deciding them? You're a loiterer in the C-suite. You don't belong at this table. You belong at the front desk, answering phones for people who actually matter." The boardroom didn't fall silent. It filled with the sharp, jagged laughter of the surrounding board members. A man in a navy blue pinstripe suit leaned back in his leather chair, smirking at Elara with high society disdain. "Honestly, Julian," the man laughed, tapping a gold signet ring against the marble table, "she's very committed to the role. Management failure. Maybe she's the new janitorial consultant here to check the bins? Someone should tell her that this firm is for the architects of the market, not the people who live on the crumbs of it." The woman beside him joined in, pointing a manicured finger at Elara's silk blouse. "I'll give her $100 to go assist the kitchen staff with the lunch service. She looks like she's built for the service industry anyway. Go on, Julian. Clear the air before the atmosphere becomes pedestrian." 12 people in the background were ostensibly minding their business, adjusting their silk ties or pretending to read legal briefs, but 8 others were acting as active witnesses, leaning in to catch every second of the humiliation with judgmental grins. "Thanks for the support. We couldn't do this without you. Subscribe for free to help us keep bringing you more stories. Where are you watching from? Drop your city and country in the comments." Now, back to the story. Julian, emboldened by the social jury, took the escalation to its peak. In a moment of raw, unposed physical aggression, he reached for a full glass of dark cola on the table. He didn't just spill it. He deliberately poured the soda over Elara's head, the dark liquid soaking her cream silk blouse and dripping onto the green marble. "I said get out," Julian hissed, his face twisted in a mask of vicious mockery. "Security, get this error out of my boardroom before she ruins the upholstery." The laughter in the room was a physical weight. Elara didn't cry. She didn't scream. She slowly stood her ground, the dark liquid staining her silk blouse, her eyes meeting Julian's with a coldness that caused the room's warmth to vanish. "You've spent your life thinking a surname on a door makes you the master of this firm?" Elara whispered, the coldness in her tone causing the witnesses' laughter to die instantly. "But you forgot that a firm is just a collection of assets, and I am the one who manages the person who owns them. You didn't just pour soda on an employee, Julian. You just assaulted the wife of the man who holds your entire company's debt. And I hear him coming down the hall now." The heavy walnut doors of the boardroom didn't just open. They were thrown back with a force that made the massive, tiered crystal chandelier overhead chime like a funeral bell. Silas Sterling, the trillionaire industrialist known as the Eraser, stepped into the room. He didn't look at the mahogany panels or the green marble table. His eyes locked onto Elara, tracing the dark soda stain as it spread across her cream silk blouse. The air in the room didn't just turn cold, it became an absolute vacuum. "Silas!" Julian gasped, his face draining of color until he looked like a wax figure. We were just having a disciplinary meeting. This employee was being insubordinate. Silas walked past Julian as if he were a ghost, reaching Elara. He didn't say a word. He took a white linen handkerchief from his pocket and gently wiped a drop of soda from her cheek. Then he turned toward the room. His quiet authority was so absolute that the man in the navy blue pinstripe suit literally began to hyperventilate. Insubordinate. Silas's voice was a low, lethal hum. You're mistaken, Julian. This isn't your employee. This is the woman who owns the holding company that currently holds 100% of your firm's voting shares. And I am the man who manages her discipline. The silence was a physical blow. The woman who had offered Elara $100 to assist the kitchen suddenly covered her mouth with trembling hands, her social standing evaporating in real time. The 8 witnesses who had been howling with laughter moments ago were now paralyzed, staring at Silas with the raw, unadulterated terror of the condemned. Theodore, Silas whispered, and his lead counsel stepped from the shadows. Execute the nuclear clause. As of this second, Vane and Associates is in total default. I want every career in this room ended. Not fired, erased. Silas, please. Julian fell to his knees, his hands reaching out toward the green marble table. We've been partners for years. You can't destroy the entire board over a minor incident. Minor. Silas stepped over Julian's reaching hand. You poured liquid on a Sterling. That's not an incident. That's a declaration of war. By sunset, I want a red flag on every person in this room in the Global Compliance Registry. They are never to hold a fiduciary position, sit on a board, or even manage a lemonade stand in this hemisphere. Liquidate their pensions to cover the moral damages to my wife's reputation. As for you, Julian, Silas continued, looking down at the broken man, since you like the kitchen so much, I've purchased the debt of your private estate and the country club you love so much. They're closing tomorrow. You won't be answering phones. You'll be looking for a shelter that accepts architects with no references. The 12 people who had been minding their business sat in stone-cold silence, watching as the 8 active witnesses were marched out by Silas's private security team. The man in the pinstripe suit was dragged away, his heels scuffing the walnut floors as he begged for a mercy that was never coming. Elara stood, her head held high, her deeply pigmented mahogany skin radiant despite the stain. She didn't need to say a word. The power shift was total. The careers in the room weren't just gone. They had been surgically removed from the economy.
Silas took Elara's hand and they walked out of the boardroom. Behind them, the lights of the massive crystal chandelier flickered and died, leaving the elite in total, irreversible darkness.